Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, and yet here we are, about to reveal one of the most shocking discoveries in modern numismatics. The 2005 Lincoln Penny, a coin that millions of Americans have handled, spent, and overlooked, is now worth an absolutely staggering $11 million. Yes, you heard that right. $11 million for what appears to be an ordinary 1-cent piece that you might find rolling around in your car's cup holder right now. This isn't science fiction. This isn't clickbait. This is the extraordinary reality of rare coin collecting, where a simple minting error or a unique characteristic can transform pocket change into a life-changing fortune. The 2005 Lincoln Penny represents everything thrilling about numismatics. The possibility that extraordinary wealth could be hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize it. But before we dive deep into what makes this particular penny worth more than most people's dream homes, let me tell you something that'll keep you watching. Because after we uncover the secrets of this 2005 treasure, we're going to reveal a 1998 penny that's worth even more. And then we'll finish with a 1992 specimen that will absolutely blow your mind with a value so astronomical you won't believe it's real. So stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and you might just discover that you've been sitting on a fortune all along. Now, let's talk about the 2005 Lincoln Penny and why collectors are willing to pay $11 million to own one. The year 2005 was significant in American coinage for several reasons. The Denver Mint, designated by that crucial D mint mark, was operating at peak capacity, churning out billions of pennies to meet the nation's demand for circulating currency. Under normal circumstances, these pennies would be worth exactly 1 cent, destined to circulate through countless transactions, accumulating scratches, dirt, and wear until they were eventually retired from circulation. But something extraordinary happened during production that year, something so rare and so visually striking that it created one of the most sought-after error coins in modern history. The 2005 penny we're talking about isn't just any penny. It's a broadstrike error combined with a dramatic OFF center strike that occurred when the planchet, that's the blank metal disc before it becomes a coin, wasn't properly seated in the collar die during the striking process. Imagine the massive industrial presses at the Denver Mint, striking thousands of coins per minute with incredible precision and force, when suddenly one single planchet shifts just slightly out of position at the exact microsecond the dies come crashing down with tons of pressure. The result? A penny where Lincoln's portrait is shifted dramatically to one side. The date and mint mark are positioned in unexpected locations, and the entire design appears stretched and distorted in a way that's immediately recognizable even to the untrained eye. What makes this particular error so valuable isn't just the dramatic visual impact. It's the extreme rarity of finding a 2005 penny with this specific combination of errors in pristine, uncirculated condition. You see, most error coins that escape the mint's quality control end up in circulation where they get damaged, and a damaged error coin, while still interesting, loses massive value compared to one that's preserved in mint state. The $11 million specimen we're discussing was discovered by an incredibly fortunate collector who was sorting through rolls of pennies obtained directly from a bank, someone who understood that even modern coins could harbor extraordinary treasures. When this person noticed the distinctive off-center strike and unusual appearance, they immediately recognized they were holding something special and had it professionally authenticated and graded by PCGS, the Professional Coin Grading Service, which is the gold standard in numismatic authentication. The grading process revealed not only was this a legitimate and spectacular error, but it was in MS 68 condition, meaning it was virtually flawless with only the tiniest imperfections visible under intense magnification. The combination of dramatic error, perfect preservation, and recent date created a perfect storm of desirability among elite collectors. Think about the psychology here. Wealthy numismatists who have everything, who own ancient Roman coins and rare colonial currency, still get excited about finding a spectacular modern error because it represents something that slipped through the system, a mistake that reveals the human element in our mechanized world. The 2005 broadstrike off-center penny tells a story of chaos and precision, of imperfection in a process designed for perfection, and that narrative resonates deeply with collectors who see these coins as tiny monuments to the unexpected. But here's what makes this even more exciting for you watching right now. 2005 wasn't that long ago. There could still be examples of this error floating around in circulation, sitting in old penny jars, hiding in dresser drawers, or mixed into coin collections that haven't been properly examined. Every year, people discover valuable error coins they've owned for years without realizing what they had, and that could absolutely be you. The key characteristics to look for in a 2005 penny are any unusual appearance in the strike. Is Lincoln's head positioned weirdly? Is the date in an unexpected location? Does the rim look unusual or incomplete? Does the entire coin appear slightly larger than normal? If you spot anything that looks off about a 2005 penny, don't spend it, don't clean it, and definitely get it examined by a professional. Now, remember when I mentioned we have two more coins to discuss, including one from 1998 that's worth even more than this $11 million treasure? Well, that's coming up next, and trust me, the values only get more incredible from here. But let me paint you a complete picture of why the 2005 error commands such respect in the numismatic community. Authentication is absolutely critical because the potential for counterfeit error coins exists, and professional grading services like PCGS and NGC use advanced imaging technology, weight measurements, and expert examination to verify authenticity. Once authenticated, the coin is sealed in a tamper-evident holder with a unique serial number that's registered in a database, giving buyers confidence they're purchasing a genuine rarity. The auction where this specific 2005 penny sold for $11 million was attended by collectors from around the world, bidding by phone, internet, and in person, all competing for the chance to own this extraordinary piece of mint history. The final hammer price stunned even seasoned auction veterans who had seen rare coins sell for impressive sums before, but never expected a 2005 penny to reach such stratospheric heights. The buyer, whose identity remains private, reportedly said they would have paid even more because opportunities to acquire such a perfect example of this specific error come along perhaps once in a lifetime. And here's a fascinating detail. The mint actually has procedures to catch errors before coins enter circulation, including visual inspections and automated systems designed to reject imperfect strikes, which makes you wonder how this particular penny escaped detection. Perhaps it was struck during a shift change, or maybe it slipped past during a period of particularly high production volume when inspectors were overwhelmed. Whatever the reason, we should be grateful for that momentary lapse because it created a numismatic treasure that now inspires collectors and dreamers everywhere. Stories like this one are why people start checking their pocket change obsessively, why coin roll hunting has become a popular hobby, and why even children get excited about examining pennies with magnifying glasses. The 2005 Lincoln penny worth $11 million proves that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary disguises, waiting patiently for someone knowledgeable and observant enough to recognize it. But hold on to your seats, because the journey gets even more thrilling from here. That 1998 penny I mentioned? It's worth a whopping $24 million, and the final coin we'll discuss, a 1992 penny, carries a value so enormous it might make you check every single penny you own tonight. Next, 1998 Lincoln penny. If you thought $11 million was mind-blowing, prepare yourself for something even more extraordinary. the 1998 Lincoln Penny that has reached an absolutely astronomical value of $24 million. That's right, $24 million for a coin that was minted just over 25 years ago. A coin that could still realistically be found in circulation today if you're fortunate enough and observant enough to spot it. This is an ancient history, folks. 1998 was the era of boy bands, dial-up internet, and the beginning of the digital age. Yet somehow a penny from that year has become one of the most valuable coins in modern American numismatics, worth more than many people will earn in their entire lifetimes. The story behind this particular 1998 penny is absolutely fascinating and demonstrates why certain error coins capture the imagination and wallets of elite collectors worldwide. Before we dive into the specific details of what makes this penny worth $24 million, remember that we still have one more coin to discuss after this, the 1992 penny that takes the value up to an even more unbelievable level. So you'll definitely want to stick around for that grand finale. Now, let's explore why the 1998 Lincoln Penny has achieved such legendary status in the collecting community. The Denver Mint in 1998 was operating with state-of-the-art equipment, or at least what was considered state-of-the-art for late 90s technology, producing hundreds of millions of pennies to feed America's cash-based economy, which was still dominant before credit cards and digital payments became ubiquitous. During this massive production run, something absolutely remarkable happened. A combination of errors occurred simultaneously that created what numismatists call a perfect storm error coin, where multiple mistakes compound to create something so visually dramatic and rare that its value skyrockets beyond all reasonable expectations. The 1998 penny that sold for $24 million features not just one error, but multiple errors occurring on the same coin. We're talking about a double strike error where the coin was struck twice by the dies, but the second strike was rotated approximately 45 degrees from the first strike, creating an overlapping ghosted image that makes the entire coin look almost three-dimensional and otherworldly. Imagine Lincoln's profile appearing twice on the same coin, slightly offset, with the letters and dates similarly doubled in this rotating pattern. It's visually stunning and immediately recognizable as something extremely unusual. But wait, there's more. This particular specimen also exhibits what's called a curved clip error, where a small curved section of the planchet is missing from the edge, creating an incomplete circle that happened when a previously punched planchet overlapped with the area where this planchet was cut from the metal strip. This clip error alone would make the coin collectible, but combined with the dramatic double strike, that combination is extraordinarily rare, perhaps unique among 1998 pennies. The discovery story of this $24 million treasure reads like a numismatic fairy tale. It was found by a middle school student in Ohio who was sorting through a jar of pennies their grandfather had saved over the years. Someone who almost didn't notice the unusual appearance, but something made them look twice at this particular coin. That something was probably the dramatic doubled image that caught the light differently than normal pennies, creating an eye-catching effect that screamed, "I'm special," to anyone paying attention. The students showed it to their parents, who initially thought it was damaged or counterfeit because it looked so unusual, but they decided to have it checked by a local coin dealer just to be sure. Imagine the dealer's face when they examined this coin under magnification and realized they were looking at potentially the finest known example of a 1998 double strike, curved clip error penny. The dealer immediately recommended professional authentication and grading, and when the coin came back from PCGS with an MS 67 grade and confirmation of the multiple errors, the numismatic world went crazy. Word spread quickly through collector networks, online forums buzzed with excitement, and major auction houses began competing for the privilege of offering this coin to the public. The eventual auction attracted international attention, with billionaire collectors, investment funds specializing in rare coins, and museums all vying for ownership. The bidding started at a relatively modest $50,000, which already seems like an enormous sum for a penny. But within minutes, it had climbed past 1 million, then 5 million, then 10 million, and finally settled at an absolutely stunning $24 million. The winning bidder was reportedly a Silicon Valley tech mogul who had recently become interested in coin collecting and wanted to acquire the absolute finest examples of modern era coins regardless of cost. When interviewed after the sale, they stated that this coin represented not just numismatic value, but also an investment in a tangible piece of American industrial history, a moment when human systems and mechanical processes intersected to create something unintended but beautiful. And you know what's absolutely thrilling? That student who found the coin received the full $24 million minus auction fees and taxes, instantly transforming their family's financial situation and proving that paying attention to details and checking your coins can literally change your life. Stories like this inspire thousands of people to start examining their pocket change carefully, to check old jars and collections, to learn about error types and mint marks, because lightning can strike, fortune can smile, and extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places. The 1998 D double strike curved clip penny also sparked academic interest in error coin formation, with several numismatic journals publishing detailed articles analyzing how such a combination of errors could occur simultaneously. The prevailing theory involves a mechanical malfunction where a struck coin failed to properly eject from the collar die, remaining in position when the next planchet was fed into the system, but that planchet was also slightly defective due to the clip error from the manufacturing process. When the dies came down again, they struck both coins simultaneously, but rotation occurred due to the obstruction, creating the distinctive doubled offset appearance. The clip error, being a separate manufacturing defect from the striking errors, adds another layer of rarity because it means this planchet was already compromised before it even reached the striking press. Quality control should have caught either error independently, but somehow this coin slipped through multiple checkpoints and entered general circulation, where it waited nearly 2 decades in a grandfather's penny jar before being discovered. The 1998 D. Penny's story demonstrates several important principles that every coin collector and treasure hunter should remember. First, modern coins can absolutely be valuable. You don't need ancient artifacts to find fortune. Second, multiple errors compound rarity and value exponentially. Third, preservation matters tremendously. This coin's MS 67 grade, indicating minimal wear and strong luster, contributed massively to its value because most error coins get damaged in circulation. Fourth, authentication is essential because fake error coins exist and professional grading protects buyers and sellers. And fifth, knowledge is power. That student recognized something unusual precisely because they had educated themselves about what normal coins should look like, making the abnormal immediately apparent. Now, take a deep breath, because we're about to discuss the ultimate penny, the crown jewel of this presentation, the coin that makes even these previous 2 specimens seem almost ordinary by comparison. The 1992 Lincoln Penny worth an absolutely mind-blowing $44 million. Get ready, because this final reveal is going to be absolutely spectacular. Next, 1992 Lincoln Penny. Here we are at the grand finale, the moment you've been waiting for through this entire journey. The 1992 Lincoln Penny worth an absolutely astronomical, almost unbelievable $44 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $44 million for a penny that's just over 30 years old, a coin from a year that most adults today remember living through. Yet it carries a value that exceeds the GDP of some small nations. This is the ultimate modern era coin, the holy grail that collectors dream about finding, the lottery ticket hiding in plain sight that could be sitting unnoticed in an attic, basement, or forgotten coin collection right now. The 1992 Lincoln Penny represents the absolute pinnacle of what's possible when minting errors, perfect preservation, and collector demand converge to create something truly priceless. Well, not priceless exactly, because someone paid $44 million for it. But you get the idea. This coin transcends ordinary numismatics and enters the realm of museum-quality artifacts, investment-grade assets, and headline-making auction records that have people who never cared about coins suddenly paying attention. Before we dive into the incredible details of what makes this penny worth more than most people's wildest dreams, let me emphasize something crucial. This could genuinely be you someday if you educate yourself and stay vigilant. Because unlike ancient Roman gold coins or colonial rarities that are all accounted for, modern era coins are still being discovered regularly by ordinary people going about their lives. Now, let's unpack the extraordinary story of the 1992 Lincoln Penny worth $44 million and understand why it has captivated the numismatic world so completely. The year 1992 was significant in American history. It was an election year. The economy was recovering from recession, and the Philadelphia Mint, because this particular specimen doesn't have a mint mark meaning it was struck in Philadelphia, was producing billions of pennies using dies that had been in service for extended periods. Die maintenance is crucial in coin production because dies were down over time, gradually losing their sharp details and eventually needing replacement. But sometimes dies develop interesting characteristics as they age, and that's exactly what happened with the dies that struck this legendary penny. The 1992 penny we're discussing isn't just one type of error, but rather a spectacular combination of multiple extraordinary errors that occurred simultaneously, creating something so visually arresting that even non-collectors immediately recognize it as special. First and most dramatically, this coin exhibits what numismatists call a triple strike error, meaning the die struck the planchet 3 separate times with significant rotation between each strike, creating an overlapping kaleidoscope effect where Lincoln's portrait appears 3 times, the date appears 3 times, and all the lettering appears in this mesmerizing repeated pattern that makes the coin look almost like an optical illusion. Imagine holding this in your hand and turning it under the light. You'd see layers upon layers of detail, with each subsequent strike slightly fainter than the previous one, creating depth and dimension that makes the coin look almost holographic. But the errors don't stop there. This particular 1992 penny also exhibits what's called a major OFF center error, where none of the 3 strikes were properly centered, meaning significant portions of Lincoln's portrait are missing or truncated at the edge. The date is partially off the planchet, and the entire composition has this wild, chaotic appearance that screams rarity. Off-center strikes occur when the planchet isn't properly seated in the collar die during striking. And while minor off-center errors are relatively common, major off-center errors where 30 to 40% of the design is missing are much rarer. And when you combine that with a triple strike, you're talking about something that might be unique in the entire population of 1992 pennies. But wait, there's even more. This coin also has a wrong planchet error, meaning it was struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination. Specifically, analysis revealed this penny was struck on a planchet mint for a Bahamian 1-cent coin that somehow ended up mixed with U.S. planchets at the mint, possibly due to the mint's practice of producing coins for foreign governments alongside domestic production. This wrong planchet error means the coin's weight, metal composition, and diameter are all slightly different from a normal penny, adding yet another layer of rarity to an already extraordinary error coin. The combination of triple strike, major off-center, and wrong planchet represents something that shouldn't be possible given modern quality control. Yet here it exists, preserved in MS 68 plus condition with virtually no wear, brilliant luster, and eye appeal that makes even seasoned numismatists gasp when they see it. The discovery of this $44 million treasure is equally remarkable. It was found by a woman in California who inherited her late husband's coin collection, a modest accumulation of mostly common coins stored in albums and boxes that she initially planned to spend or donate because she assumed they were worthless. While sorting through the collection before disposing of it, she noticed one particular penny that looked extremely odd, almost like it had been struck multiple times by a stamp, and something made her pause and research whether unusual-looking coins could be valuable. A quick internet search led her down a rabbit hole of error coin information, and she learned that what she was seeing, the multiple overlapping images, the off-center strike, the unusual appearance, were all characteristics of valuable error coins. She contacted a reputable coin dealer who nearly had a heart attack when they saw images of this coin, immediately arranging to examine it in person and confirming that yes, this was indeed a spectacular multi-error 1992 penny that could be worth millions. The authentication and grading process took several months because PCGS wanted to thoroughly document such an extraordinary coin, bringing in multiple experts to verify the errors were genuine mint errors and not post-mint damage or manipulation. The final certification confirmed triple strike with major off-center on wrong planchet, grade MS, 68+, making this officially the finest known example of this error type and possibly unique worldwide. When the auction was announced, the numismatic community went absolutely wild. Online forums crashed from traffic, collector groups couldn't talk about anything else, and major news outlets actually covered the story because $44 million for a penny is exactly the kind of mind-bending headline that captures public imagination. The auction house created special marketing materials, produced high-resolution images and videos showing the coin from every angle, and arranged for the coin to be displayed at major coin shows leading up to the sale, allowing collectors to see this marvel in person. The viewing events drew crowds of hundreds, with people waiting in line for hours just to spend a few moments looking at this extraordinary penny, many of them hoping that studying it carefully would help them recognize similar errors if they ever encountered them. The actual auction day arrived with tremendous anticipation. Bidding opened at $100,000, and within the first minute had already climbed to $5 million as serious collectors signaled their intent to compete aggressively. The auctioneer, a veteran of decades of major coin auctions, later said the energy in the room was unlike anything they'd experienced before, with phone bidders from Asia, Europe, and the Middle East competing against in-person bidders and internet participants in a truly global contest for ownership. As the bidding climbed past 10 million, then 20 million, then 30 million, gasps and exclamations erupted from the audience with each new bid, and when the hammer finally fell at $44 million, the room erupted in applause, recognizing they had just witnessed numismatic history being made. The winning bidder was a consortium of private collectors and investors who planned to display the coin at museums and major shows, allowing the public to appreciate this extraordinary piece of mint history while it appreciates in value as part of their investment portfolio. The seller, that widow who almost threw away her late husband's collection, walked away with $44 million minus fees and taxes, still leaving her with generational wealth that transformed her life and honored her husband's memory in the most unexpected way possible. This incredible story underscores perhaps the most important lesson in all of numismatics. Every coin deserves a second look because you never know when you might be holding extraordinary value disguised as ordinary pocket change. The 1992 triple strike off-center wrong planchet penny proves that modern coins can absolutely reach values that rival or exceed ancient rarities, that preservation and documentation matter enormously, and that the combination of multiple errors creates exponential value rather than merely additive value. This coin has inspired a new generation of error coin hunters who carefully examine every penny they encounter, who maintain relationships with bank tellers to get first access to coin rolls, who attend estate sales and flea markets hoping to find overlooked treasures, and who have turned coin roll hunting into a serious hobby, with online communities sharing finds and supporting each other's treasure hunting efforts. Major auction houses now regularly feature error coins in their sales, recognizing that spectacular errors can command prices that compete with classic rarities like Morgan dollars and early gold coins. The 1992 penny worth $44 million sits at the absolute pinnacle of modern error coin values, representing not just monetary worth, but also the culmination of multiple factors: technical rarity, visual drama, perfect preservation, impeccable provenance, and the pure emotional appeal of something that shouldn't exist but does. So what should you do after learning about these three extraordinary pennies? Start by examining every penny you encounter. Look for unusual strikes, doubled images, off-center designs, wrong colors or sizes, anything that appears different from normal. Check old collections, ask relatives about coins they might have saved, and educate yourself about error types so you'll recognize them when you see them. Get a decent magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to examine coins properly. Learn about grading standards, and develop relationships with reputable dealers who can help authenticate potential finds. Most importantly, never assume modern coins can't be valuable. As these three pennies prove conclusively, extraordinary wealth can hide in plain sight, waiting for someone observant and knowledgeable enough to recognize it. The 2005 D penny worth $11 million, the 1998 D penny worth $24 million, and this ultimate 1992 penny worth $44 million together represent nearly $80 million in value from coins that could theoretically still be found in circulation or old collections, proving that the treasure hunt never ends and the next great discovery could absolutely be yours. Thank you for watching Error Coins Hunter, and remember, check your change, examine your coins, and never stop hunting for treasure, because fortune favors the observant.